What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi and Eric Sheetshaver. We're going to be talking through this Monday 9-game MLB slate. I've spent a lot of time on this one, going through a bunch of different things. I wanted to try to, even though I didn't build out 150, I wanted to build out a bunch of different stuff and just play around with the stuff. After I actually watched a couple of your videos and found it really helpful. So I'm actually just trying to get more familiar with all the mass entry stuff. Sheets, I guess I'll ask you, what do you like, or has anything changed right off the bat since earlier?
No, nothing really changed kind of projection wise. I mean, it's still the same guys I liked before, Michael King and what's his name? Cortez still projects well, I guess, Gausman, Morton, Blackburn. Nothing's really changed all that much. It's a question of how I feel like building. Any win stuff, anything worth considering, or it's just everything's kind of status quo?
You say win stuff?
Wind, W-I-N-D?
Wind, I'm sorry. Nothing that's majorly affecting me. Like it's basically sort of like neutral weather for most stadiums. I mean, it's warmer than it is early in the year. That's the only thing. Better hitting for the Angels in Angel Stadium than usual, which just makes it like a regular stadium. So nothing really significant weather-wise that I think is worth paying attention to today, especially. We don't have all the lineups out yet, obviously, but
who are we missing? Just Toronto and the Atlanta game?
Toronto, the Atlanta Giants, the Padres lineup, the Diamondbacks lineup, I think. Oh, the Diamondbacks lineup came out, but I just don't have it right here yet. It just came out a little bit ago. So it's really just the three, Toronto and then San Francisco, Atlanta.
Who's your favorite? I mean, who's your favorite of the pitchers?
So on DraftKings, Gausman is my favorite.
Okay.
And I have zero issue with, I think that there's a very similar world where Gausman is by far the highest owned pitcher on this slate.
Really?
If you would have said Michael King was going to be higher priced and more owned than Gausman at this time of the season earlier in the year, I think people would have thought you were nuts. Now, Michael King has been much better than Gausman has been, but he also faces a lot easier teams, and he has another good matchup tonight. But I like Gausman in this matchup. And look, I could be wrong. He's a high variance pitcher. I think he has probably the most upside outside of maybe King, and probably the most upside outside of King. And I think you could actually argue he has a higher upside than King does. They both have really high upside, so it's But I'm very okay with being overweight that. And actually on FanDuel, I'm only playing one lineup, but I do want to mention that I am playing this Matthews guy, this Zebby Matthews.
Okay.
He's 6,100 on FanDuel. Now, you don't necessarily need it, but if I can play him and stack the Dodgers and Yankees, including playing Betts, Ohtani, Judge, and Soto, that feels pretty good to me if I can somehow get him through with a reasonable number, because I don't love the pitching on this slate. I do think King stands out above the rest as the obvious play, but I did want to play the Zebby Matthews a little bit, and I thought I'd throw him in my one lineup over there.
So, I mean, you legit could play. Whoever you want. I mean, if you do that. Yeah,
and you save all the money too. So try to get Judge, Soto, Ohtani, and Betts into a lineup, and see what you got left. But I've got Will Smith in that lineup. I've got Stanton in that lineup also. That's just a monster power lineup. So I'm very into that idea personally on FanDuel. I know it's high risk, but I'm playing one lineup with 1 million people in a tournament. I'd like to try to get different some way, and that seems like a pretty good way. On DraftKings, I have more Erod than I thought, and I think I want to get less, so I'm going to have to work on that. But I have Gausman the most. I have King the second most, and then I have Erod and Harrison the same.
And not into the Blackburn, huh?
I have Blackburn next.
Okay.
So he's in 20. I have him at 20% right now.
Okay. Oh, that's enough. I mean,
yeah, it's probably about with the field. But I'm good with the Blackburn. I also do think that getting some A's is not a bad idea on the other side. But that's sort of how I feel about a lot of stuff tonight. I don't feel incredible about the pitching, and there's somebody I have to pay up for. If there was one guy, two guys who scare you, to me, it would be that's the way I like to look at it sometimes. Gausman and King would be the two that scared me for scoring high enough to where I couldn't spend somewhere else. The problem is there's not great spend downs, but I really like the Harrison Blackburn combination as a spend down option if you wanted to spend up for your hitters. And then I have Morton about the same as Blackburn. So pretty much with the field on those guys, but way over the field on Gaussman, way over the field on Harrison. And then, I do have Seth Lugo at 15% also. And he's like, doesn't look like he's going to be owned hardly at all. And I'm not entirely sure why.
Who Lugo?
Lugo.
You don't know why he's going to be lower owned, you mean?
I don't know why he's going to be as low owned as he is. There's some variance, but I mean, he's been consistently, let's call it what it is. He's been the best pitcher on the slate all season by far. So I'll take a chance on the guy who's been the best pitcher not being owned at all.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and it's not like Minnesota is like this medieval awful matchup. It's just, he just doesn't project quite as well as the other guys do. The interesting thing about this Matthews guy, this Zebby Matthews, he doesn't even project all that badly, like just in terms of his actual numbers. It's just people are going to play other people. So I think he's kind of interesting to take a shot with. And his numbers in the minors were terrific. They haven't seen him. I love that when somebody's never seen anybody before. So I just think that there's a lot of ways to go at pitching, but I think the more interesting thing is to try and get into how we're gonna do the stacks, because I do think that you're gonna have it's gonna be somewhat condensed, but I don't know actually it's that condensed, to be honest with you. I think Boston and the Yankees will be the highest owned, pretty safe to say. After that, I think you're gonna have it seems like a lot of guessing, because I think Toronto will have some ownership. I think Arizona will have some ownership. I think the Dodgers will have a little more than they're being projected for, but it's still not enough for me to fade them. So I'm personally playing the Dodgers a ton, and looking at the rest of my stuff so I don't say anything that's wrong. Dodgers, I like Toronto as well. Texas, I like a lot, and I like the Mets.
Yeah, I was wondering when we talked earlier about why I'm not getting the Mets.
Nobody seems to be.
Yeah. Are they very expensive or something? Or
no, actually not especially expensive, and there are cheap options. And this is a team that I think is going to be higher owned than the projections have it. It's just my guess. But it doesn't mean it's still not going to be that high owned. You know what I mean? It's going to be a sub 10% stack pretty much across the board. So I kind of like some of that. And again, I can't play everybody. If I got to another thing, it would have been Oakland. I still kind of am tempted to try and mix something up and get some Oakland, just because I like the hitters against their pitcher and all that stuff, all the silly narrative stuff that I like.
As far as late swap goes, there's a window here between the 8:10s and the 9:30s that everybody should be aware of. There's, again, if you were really technical, there would be a couple of other slots here, but I would definitely take a look sometime, maybe about 9 p.m. Eastern, if you're going to play this right. Mm-hmm. Give you enough time to let the games play out, and also leave you enough time to get your lineups changed. So I think 9:10 would be kind of a good time to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
What is your I don't want to say stacking rules, but what is your take on stacking for tonight's slate specifically?
Mostly 5 men. I have a couple 4-3-1s and a couple of 4-2-2s. Partially because I was hard to get some of the expensive bats in, so I'm using, I don't love these one-offs against Cortez, but because Cortez is going to have some ownership, they're not going to be all that popular. So like Lennon Sosa, as you mentioned earlier, at 2.2K or whatever, or 2.4K. Vargas is 2.6. Benintendi, where is he hitting in the order? Benintendi is hitting third. He's 2,800. Corey Lee, the catcher, 2,300. He's got power for a guy who's that cheap. So I'm using the White Sox as a little bit of fillers, because that way I can get low-owned stuff. And it does make me nervous a little bit, because Cortez could easily go out there and just, it wouldn't surprise me, any of us, if he threw 7 shutout innings or whatever. But I do kind of like getting some leverage while using only 2,400, 2,200 guys to spend on it, not really having to spend up on it. And they're the cheapest team out there for pretty good reason.
What's Cortez on FanDuel?
FanDuel, let's see. He is, got it right here. Come on, load. Let's see. He is 86, so pretty similar. Yeah, nobody really like the one weird pricing play. And look, it's just something that nobody feels the need to do. And it's not usually the way I would play. Like if I was playing the 555 or something like that, I don't think I would play the Zebby Matthews. But a 150 with, thousands of the people in it to try and have a chance, I think it's interesting to just take a shot and get different with him. He's projected less than 1%.
Let me just see something. Okay. All right, let's rebuild these. Rebuild.
Yeah, I'm looking at my thing. So I mean, in the thing, I scripted and then I hand built my bigger ones. But I didn't play that many. I'm not playing that many that are scripted. But yeah, mostly it's 5-3, 5-2, 4-4, 4-2-2, 4-3-1. Yeah, that's in that order. How about you? How about what are you coming across anything different? Or are you just automatic?
I'm just starting to build now. I was getting to some non-traditional stacks, and I'm continuing to X them out. So, but not that many. If it was a lot, I would take a look at it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
There's just a couple to just kind of swipe around with. That I'll get rid of it.
Yeah. And the reason why sometimes I think on these slates, like when you have the Yankees and Dodgers playing, when the Dodgers are healthy with Betts and Freeman and Ohtani, and the Yankees have Judge Stanton and Soto all available, I can see why sometimes that's been part of the reason I think that's driven people to those other stacks, because these guys just outscore everybody by so much. Bobby Witt would be another one you could throw into that mix, Gunnar Henderson, but trying to get multiples of those guys in there is going to usually force you to off of a 5-man, unless it's the 5-man White Sox or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, definitely. And feeling physically a little better, although still definitely testing positive. And it's weird, man. This thing just comes in waves. It hits you and then it doesn't. And it's like, I just feel fine. And then I feel like I can barely breathe. It's just weird. But I have to thank you also for the recommendation of the show.
Oh, you like it, right?
I really like it. Yeah.
Right? It's pretty neat.
I watched the whole thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really good. That last episode was that leaves you tense, right?
Yep.
Really, really good stuff. Yeah, Wolf Like Me, guys, check it out.
Not for everybody, but
not for everybody. I'll take the blame. on that one if they don't like it.
This is
so I'm just looking what else here.
Wait, so I'm on DraftKings here in Knuckleball. Yeah, I'm getting just so you know, I am getting not a lot, but like a chunk of non-traditional stacks here. So I'm gonna probably let some of them stand and just kind of go with it. All right, and I will just for the fun of it. Should I look at who I have? No, probably not. It's probably better off that way. 97.
I can share my screen though and run a build if you want to.
Sure. Go for it.
Yeah, let's see. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna go to this. All right. Okay, here. So Corey's asking for an example of what a single entry might look like today. So let's run a single entry one. We don't do that very often. We'll just do one lineup here. Actually, we could run. I guess you could run as many as you want, but I'm just going to do 2,000 because we're just doing a single entry. I'm going to go. I actually tried to. I wanted to mess around with the correlation, so I was trying to see like, okay, what if I go lower? And it still tends to correlate pretty strong, but it is something that I just wanted to mess around with and thought it was kind of interesting the different results I got. I should probably keep saving all my builds so I can refer back to it, but I didn't do that this time. All right, let's do the single entry and let's do the 121, I guess. Let's do the fielder's choice. That's a little smaller of a single entry, but that's okay. We'll go a little conservative, save settings, and we'll delete the other one. Okay, let's make sure. Yeah, okay, so let's build. All right. So because I have some stuff going, I actually started a new build, but that's all right. It'll work fine like this. And here we go. Yeah, as Rody mentioned in the chat, please hit the like button if you can. And those of you guys who are members, check out Rody's playbook. I like what he's got on there. It's similar to a lot of what I have. So maybe I'm biased, but always nice when things sync up like that.
Oh, he likes the similar teams.
Yeah, he's got, you know, I don't want to give his whole thing away, but I guess he's got the he's got the Dodgers way up there on both sites. Yeah, he's got Texas up there especially on FanDuel. And then he's got the more chalky pitchers than I've got, but he has had the Seth Lugo highlighted, which I liked. I thought that was cool.
I think he's going to be pretty low owned. I agree with you.
Sorry, Rody, I gave away part of your playbook there for free. Yeah, I think so too. I think that it's just a logic. Like even Lopez, you know what Lopez ended up owned last night, and he actually pitched pretty well. Pablo Lopez.
Okay.
He was pitching against KC on the other side of that situation. And he had I think he had 8 strikeouts in 6 innings or something like that, but he ended up giving up a few runs. But he was 3% or 4% owned. And
oh, really?
That's just like, I was just like, oh my God, if I would have known that, you're talking, I would have probably gone 50% of them. I just think it's crazy. No, it's cool, Rody. It's good enough. Let's see, saying that my part wasn't okay. Let's see what we got here. So let's see what our lineup is. We'll just do that. And we'll go by exposure. And they gave us this lineup for the wait, why can I not find my exposure? There we go. Sorry, guys. There we go. So yeah, they went with Toronto and the Dodgers in the single entry. And the Dodgers they got they went with Mookie. It was Mookie, Lux, and Betts, and then the 5-man Toronto stack. I am fully in support of that. I would have no problem entering that as my exact lineup. And pitchers, they had Harrison and Gausman. Wow. Okay, they didn't go with the King for the single entry. Yeah, that's the mood I'm in though. I love it. Great. So that's an example of a single entry that I think you could argue is actually viable for a large field too. Like this is actually, you're not getting that much ownership on these guys, especially with Toronto possibly not having their lineup out by lock. As most of the top guys are going to sub their 150s every period or whatever, every 20 minutes, every new lock, but a lot of the other players will not. So Toronto just by nature is going to be a little bit lower owned until, as long as they don't get their lineup out before lock, which they didn't last night. Let's see if maybe they did. Why was that got in there and say this? No, they still haven't let it out yet. And Jazz Chisholm, for what it's worth, is going to the injured list for the Yankees, just in general, something to keep in mind. Lineup is maybe not quite as strong as it was, but I think the Yankees are the pretty obvious team that people are going to play the most. I don't think anybody cares about what happened last night. And if they played that game over again a million times, the Yankees probably score 10 runs at least half the time. I mean, it was crazy to have 7 walks and 5 hits through 4 innings and score 1 run through that time. It's just it's literally mathematically almost impossible. You have to have runners thrown out at the plate. You have to have double plays, it's just crazy.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they had to give up 12 runs.
That's true. They didn't have to do that against the worst team in the history of baseball, possibly. And that is maybe not blasphemy, but who knows? Looks like the White Sox. And a lot of people I don't know if a lot of people like them. A lot of people have talked about the White Sox today.
Well, I mean, it's been working. You know what I mean? So right. when you stack against the main pitcher and it works, then you're going to, it's going to get talked about. And right. As I mentioned, I've been watching a lot of the better players. They just do it. They just do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether it's because they're getting to on their sims or they just, like you said, even manually want to just, make sure you get some leverage against the top pitcher. I mean, it's not as off the board as it once was. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Agreed. And I think that, I'm taking Vargas off of my core thing here. Okay. Because he's not hitting the top of the order. Gavin Sheets, I mean, this lineup for the White Sox, for what it's worth, it does feel like I am a little nervous about not having much Cortez, but I'm just going to live with it and roll with it. But I am definitely, that's the one that makes me a little nervous because that White Sox lineup, it's pretty bad.
You getting any Milwaukee or no?
I have pieces, but I don't have any stacks. I'm totally fine with pieces. The thing with Milwaukee is they they've actually been done a really good job of being a much more patient team overall this season. Some of that is, Yelich is gone also right now, so that's not helping. But Stone has got pretty good control, and it's tough. So I just found like there's not one guy in the top 5 of their order that I wouldn't say that you could one off or play in as a mini stack. But I just didn't find the need to fully stack them. Dodgers have the 4th best bullpen in baseball. I mean, Milwaukee has the 3rd best bullpen in baseball, and I'm stacking the Dodgers, but it's a little different when you're talking about Jackson Chourio and Garrett Mitchell versus Shohei and Mookie Betts.
What are you trying to say? Something against Jackson Chourio?
I love Jackson Chourio. Hey, the guy's been great, but I'm just saying.
I don't think I would trade one off him for Ohtani.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that either. All right, what else do we have here, guys? Pop in any questions or thoughts. We did a single entry build. I'm gonna run another one just for fun for the 20 max, let's say, or something like that. Okay, let's do this. Delete, and then let's add one, and we are gonna do the 20 max here. All right, let's see. You know what? Let's have some more fun. Let's do the quarter jukebox. It's one I never play, so I'm not allowed to play it. So we'll see. We'll see what it comes up with. We'll do 150, and I'm only gonna leave it out of 2,000, so it goes a little faster here. I'm gonna get the correlation up there, and we will go rebuild. I hope it is Rich, but I hope Texas does help us out. But I want to stay though. I like Texas, but partly it's because they're not getting very much ownership and they're in a great ballpark and all that stuff. It's not like they're facing a weak pitcher. This is not like an obvious play Texas spot. That's why they're not getting looked at really. So just keep that in mind. I don't think Texas is a team you feel like if Houck is not, I don't know. There's worse pitchers to target against. Than Crawford, not Houck. But I still think that this is an elite level talent offense, even though they haven't played like it. And they're so low owned, it's hard not to have some interest here. Yeah. Let's see where they're at. Nobody higher than 10% is Seager. Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, so let's see what we got from just running for the quarter arcade. So basically the mass entry one, we're going to go to look at the stack exposure. And you can see 48% 5.2, 37% 5.3. So they're heavily on that. For a couple 4.4s, little 4.3s, and then the team stacks. You're getting 61% Toronto, 44% Dodgers, 23% Texas. So they're sort of liking a lot of the same. Saberson is loving exactly what I like today. So that's good. Or I guess it's not good. It just it is what it is. And they're getting the less of the Yankees and less of. Let's just see if the individual hitters, I'm curious how that ended up, how much they spread out here. Let's take Texas out of here, and we will look at exposure. Yeah, so Kirk being the catcher in half the lineups, Springer, Horwitz, a little further down Vlad, but they've got a bunch of Ohtani. Okay, that's why. And then pitching-wise, they are giving you 60% Michael King, 44% Gausman, number 2 owned. 43% Harrison, 16% Morton. So like the difference between the 111 when it's 100K for first and the 555, I really think you want to treat the 111 more like the lottery when you play it. There's just so many more entries to deal with.
I can't believe that. That's like 100 entries.
Yeah. It's crazy. All right, so that's what we've got there. I'm going to take a quick look at something else. Players.
Let's see what the lottery is looking like for me here. Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty spread out, which is interesting in the lottery today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played 150 in the small one, whatever, and I have no stack above 24%. So I usually probably have something a little bit higher than that. So, and I do have Yankees at the highest, and then the Angels next.
You looked.
I did.
Oh my God, he's
I'm not
cursing
changing it.
himself.
I'm not changing it. So what's the
No, I
difference?
know. I'm just messing around with it.
I might late swap a little bit later, but that's not going to help the whatchamacallit, the Yankees exposure.
Yeah.
And honestly, like nothing too crazy in the pitching either. So I guess for me, Saberson wasn't in the mood, I guess. So whatever. I was fearing like 72% White Sox or something like that, but
Yeah.
not today.
Not today.
And I may as well go right on FanDuel. We'll take a look. That was all lottery stuff. The lottery on FanDuel. And I don't know, did they get rid of the squeeze? I don't know, but they have this $3 one that I play nowadays.
They have the other one, I think the $15 over.
Oh, they do? I haven't been noticing it. That's so funny.
It's like a $20K for first usually over there.
I would be fine, but I didn't even notice. That's so funny. So I stopped playing, I guess. Oh my God, I'm really heavy on the Yankees in Toronto on in FanDuel. I mean, so what? They're gonna get shut down. Well, she's shut down. They didn't get shut down by Bush again. They got unlucky. They had the bases loaded every freaking inning.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut down my cannon. If you're gonna shut down my cannon, really? I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Maybe. Maybe.
Low strikeout pitcher against. I mean, it's not the same hitting weather that it was yesterday. But what good did that do him? You got to hit the ball. You got to hit the ball. You got to hit the ball not right at people.
Yep.
And Michael King, Cortez. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not. I'm taking a break from my seemingly usual kookiness in baseball today. We'll see how it. We'll see how it works out. How it turns out.
Yeah.
What's hang on. So just so you know, tomorrow I'm going to be out for live.
Okay.
So tomorrow evening I'm out. But if there's anything, what's the schedule for tomorrow? Is there afternoon slate tomorrow? Because it's
hard to know what they're going to do with this slate because there's a 10 a.m. game, but there's not another one till 1 or 12:40, and then there's a 1 p.m. game, but then the games don't go again till 3. So I honestly
they have it. They have a 1:10 p.m. slate, 3 games. 3 games.
Oh, okay, so that would be
And then it's I don't know when I'm leaving, but it's an early start for the evening slate tomorrow at 6:35.
Okay, that makes sense because there's so many games, and that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, 11 games for that, and we will go over the golf tomorrow.
Yeah.
The St. Jude with the no cut.
Yeah.
I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, good luck to everybody tonight, and I would really encourage everybody to check out some of those video sheets has been doing about the process videos. They're really, really good, really, really helpful, even to people who are experienced in doing this stuff. And whether or not you agree or want to do the exact same thing with everything, you can obviously make up your mind. But I think it's really, really good info that I would definitely take a look at.
And I'm looking at a trial on the home page here.
Yeah, we got our trial thing up. And guys, I'm going to remind everybody, we are going to be raising prices probably for NFL season. So it's not just a thing to try and get in now. So no, we probably realistically are going to run a promo code for the first month, just realistically. But again, it's going to be a more expensive package if you don't get in now. Obviously, we're not going to change anybody's who's already locked into us for whatever price. We're keeping those the same.
Hate the NFL.
Hate the NFL? Yeah, he gets to say that right now. This is the year I think you win the million.
You think so?
Rodeo will win a showdown one, and then hopefully
Rody's gonna win the best ball.
He's going to win the best ball. He's also got the baseball finals coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's right. He's going to the baseball.
3 entries, I think, in that thing.
Oh my God!
So that's a pretty big thing for Rody. We're making sure he's going in there. Yeah. Hopefully representing TrueDFS very well and taking it down.
Represent.
All right, man. Are you good, or you want anything else?
Here. No, I'm
all
good.
right.